Way back in the 80s, we got the Rubik's Cube. And I had these things long time ago. I used to play around with them. Way back then, they didn't have any of these fancy solving techniques or anything. You just did what you did. And one side was easy, two sides, no problem. I would even get three sides once in a while. One time, while over at a family dinner for Christmas or Thanksgiving, I forget which one it was, I accidentally solved all six sides. And I show my parents, say, hey, look, I solved the whole thing. Like, yes, that's nice, Dan. Yeah, no, you don't get it. You know how hard this is to do. It was just by dumb luck I happened to get it the right way. While I had two sides and was going for three. Now, this is something that I have done a few times on my own, getting it this far. And I never got into any of the tutorials or teachings or, start with this pattern or solve all the white ones first or go this row, then this row. I just, play around with it and I get what I get. Two sides I can get pretty easily, even three once in a while. It really hasn't changed over the years. But here is what I have right now. Look at this. The yellow side is done. And we have all but one on the red, all but one on the green, all but one on the orange, all but one on the blue, all but two on the white. So almost solving a Rubik's Cube is like almost winning the lottery. So I've actually gone online to these Rubik's Cube solving websites. There's one here, I have it on the thing, Grubix, GRUBIKS.com. And you just fill in, you hold it a certain way, you fill in what color of each square, and then, you set it how you want it and you hold it that way, and it tells you what to do. And maybe it's because you're holding it still and turning it the way it tells you to on the screen. But, it solves it in a way I would never do. Turn the top 90 degrees, turn the back 180 degrees. I would never do it that way. I would move it around. And so maybe that's why it looks different. But even when I had, the few times I've done it, it would solve it in about 17 to 20 moves. And even when I had it this close, I thought, oh, maybe 5 or 6 moves and it's done. No, it still took 17 moves to do it. But this is something I poke around with this thing now and again. I have it here by my computer. And, I'll solve a color, and I'll get it to where I have one color fixed, and then the next color is missing one on that side. And so I'll fix this one, and then the yellow has that same one now is messed up. I fix it, this goes back to being messed up. I fix it, this goes back to being messed up. Whatever. It's something to do. And maybe I'll learn it right when I see. Now, when I do solve the cube, or when I solve a side, I will solve one side, and I will do it in such a way that the edge around it is all the right way. And in the process of doing that, I'll usually have most, if not all, of the second layer solved as well. But then getting the third layer, that's where you can't move stuff around down here without totally screwing this up. So I don't know. I suppose I could, and should learn the whole thing and follow someone's technique and do it and get it right and learn about, oh, look at the corners or look at the middle pieces on the end or whatever they do. I can't even watch those things. In 10 seconds, I'm just bored to death with whatever they say to do, how to solve it, what's their technique. So anyhow, this is the almost as good and a whole lot cheaper Loudmouth Tim way of solving a Rubik's Cube. Get one side good and get all but one on other sides, and all but, hey, I got it all but two after all that. So that's pretty good. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 pieces out of order out of all these pieces. So that's not bad, right? Okay. Who's on the chat today? Lux Report. Hi, how you doing? SVT. Well, I knew he was going to New York, but it was too short a notice, and he could get a rental car and drive 350 miles west and come see me. He mentioned today he was going to come back to New York or somewhere in the U.S. next year. Maybe we'll meet up then if he has more of a big world tour thing going on. That's for the Archie Luxury channel that we're talking about in the chat. Anyhow, This is what I do just for something to do. Play around with the Rubik's Cube, get a side or two. Okay, put it back over there. I might touch it tomorrow or in 2 or 3 weeks. That's all for this episode. And if you do have one, try that Rubik's website and you can walk through and follow what it tells you to do, and maybe you'll learn something from it. Say, okay, when I have it like this, you turn it like that, and then it brings it all into the correct positions. Okay, that's all for this episode.